Section 4.6 is on formulas. A formula is an equation used to describe a real-world relationship. For example, some common formulas are the formula for area of a rectangle. Area is equal to length times width. Another common formula is the formula for calculating simple interest. Interest is equal to principal times rate times time. Another common formula is distance is equal to rate times time. The first question is, what is the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle? So the perimeter of a rectangle is going to be about adding up all of the sides of the rectangle. So the sides of my rectangle are the length and the width, and I have two of each of them, 2 lengths and 2 widths. So the formula for the perimeter is going to be P for perimeter equals 2 length plus 2 width. Add up all the lengths and all the widths to get the perimeter. Perimeter is always an addition of all the sides of a geometric shape. Again, my rectangle has length and width. If I want to find the area, we're going to multiply length times width to get the area. So the formula for area is L times W. And in example 1, we have a rectangular floor with an area of 192 square feet and a length of 16 feet. We want to find the width of the room. So what we know from the formula area equals length times width is we know that the area is 192. We know that the length is 16. We don't know W, so we're going to solve for W. To solve for W, we're going to divide both sides by 16. If you take 192 and you divide it by 16, you'll come up with 12. So W equals 12. Be sure to go ahead and put the units back on for your final answer. Since this is in feet, we're going to say that our width is 12 feet. Alright, let's look at the next one. In example 2, a photographer plans to use 68 inches of wood to make a rectangular frame for a photo. If the width of the frame is to be 14 inches, what will the length be? Okay, so figuring this one out requires that I identify these values. These 76 inches of wood is going to go all the way around the photo, so that must be the perimeter. So we are given an equation starting off with, we know that the perimeter of that equation is 76. We also know that the width is 14. And if we go ahead and put this into the formula for perimeter, we know that perimeter is equal to 2 length plus 2 width. Our perimeter being 76, our width being 14. We're going to be able to solve this equation for L, which is our length. The first step is to simplify. So 76 equals 2L plus 2 times 14 is 28. We're going to need to subtract 28 from both sides to get the L by itself. So we'll do minus 28 on both sides. Minus 28. And that's going to give us 48 on the left-hand side equals 2L on the right-hand side. Then we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by that 2 so that we can get the L by itself. So our L value is going to be equal to 24. So in this situation, the length is 24 inches. Example 3 is looking at an equation that's a variation in the simple interest formula. It's for calculating the total amount in an account after a period of time and an interest rate. So we're going to use this formula. We're going to plug these values in. Let me go ahead and copy that formula. And we'll evaluate this formula for the value of A, 1025. Value of P, 500. Make sure that gets plugged in both places for P. And the value of T, put a parenthesis there, the value of T is going to be 15. Alright, when we simplify this, we're going to want to multiply the 500 and the 15 first so we can get the coefficient of R. We're just going to use the property that says we can rearrange multiplication and multiply those two numbers together. So 1025 equals 500 plus 15 times 500 is 7,500, R. Now we're going to solve for R. Solving for r is going to require that we first subtract this 500 so we can get the r by itself. 1025 minus 500 is going to give us 525 equals our 7,500 r. And then we're going to want to divide both sides by 7,500 to get r. When you complete your division, you get 0.07 equals r. We expect it to be a number like that because we know that's going to be an interest rate. 0.07 corresponds with 7% interest rate. Part B gives another formula. Let's go ahead and copy this one. This is the formula for calculating the surface area of a rectangular solid. And in this particular problem, we know that we want the surface area to be 72. So let's plug 72 in for S. W is going to be 2. So let's plug a 2 in for W. Make sure you plug it in for all the W's. And we also know that H is supposed to be 3, so we'll plug a 3 in for the H's. So the variable that we're going to try to find is L. We have a couple different L's right here, so we're going to want to combine like terms, but first let's get those multiplications simplified. So our equation looks like 72 equals 2 times 2 is 4L, plus 2 times 2 is 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2L times 3 is 6L. If we combine our like terms, we'll have our 72 equals 4L plus 6L is 10L plus 12. And now we'll start the solving process. We've got it all simplified. We'll start solving. To get rid of the 12, we're going to subtract 12 from both sides. So that's going to give us 60 equals 10L. And then we know that if we divide both sides by 10, we'll get 6. So our final answer for this one is that L, the length of this shape, is 6. In the next part, we know that 4 dimes are worth 40 cents because we know that 4 times the value of a dime, which is 10 cents, is equal to 40 cents. Now, it's important to check your units right here to see if you want your units to be in cents or dollars. If I wrote the same type of thing for dollars, I could say it was going to be 4 times 0.10 dollars, which is still a dime, equals 0.40 for 40 cents. So it's important to know that I'm calculating the value of something and it's a monetary value. I want to know what my units are supposed to be. If I want my units to be in cents, the value of a dime is 10. If I want my units to be in dollars, the value of a dime is 0.10. Both of these right here are an example of the total value formula. Total value is calculated by multiplying the value of an item times the number of items. In example 4, tickets for a concert cost $25 each. Find a formula for the cost T in dollars of any of these tickets. Using my total value formula, I know the value of each of these items is 25, so we're going to plug that in for V. I don't know the number of items and I don't know the cost. This is going to create myself a formula right here for calculating the cost of N tickets. Let's perform a unit analysis on that formula. The units on T are dollars. The units on 25 are dollars each, or dollars per ticket. I can write that as a fraction in dollars per ticket. And the value on N is the number of tickets, so the units on that would be tickets. When I multiply these together, since I have tickets across the top of my fraction and tickets across the bottom of my fraction, tickets will cancel and leave us with dollars equal dollars, so the unit analysis is going to work out. In part C, we want to substitute 425 for T and solve for N and discuss the meaning. So using the same equation, we're going to plug in 425 for T. To solve for N, we're going to want to divide both sides by 25. That gives us a value of 17 for N. So when I discuss what it means, I want to mention both parts. The part that I was originally given, the 425, and the 17, those two numbers. So this means that it will cost $425 for 17 tickets. When you're explaining, it's important that you talk about both the 425 and the 17 in your sentence. In example 5, we're going to let A, B, and C be the lengths of the sides of a triangle. Capital A is going to be the average length of a side of a triangle. It's going to be the sum of the lengths divided by 3 since the triangle has 3 sides. So let's write a formula. I'm trying to calculate the average length A, and I know how to do this. I know I'm going to take and add up all the sides, A plus B plus C, and then divide by the number of things I added, 3. That's going to give me a formula for the average side length. In part B, I want to use the formula we just created. If the average side length is 19 inches and the lengths of two of the sides are 5 and 13, find the length of the third side. So in this case, we know that the average length is 19 inches and that two of our sides are 5 and 13 inches. We want to find the length of the third side. Okay, so we have it set up. We want to solve this equation. So I have 19 equals 18 plus C over 3. Now to solve, since I have the entire 18 plus C divided by 3, I'm going to get rid of the 3 by multiplying both sides of the equation by 3. That will cause the two 3's to cancel on the right-hand side and will give us 57, which is 19 times 3, equals 18 plus C. Now I can continue solving by subtracting 18 from both sides. 57 minus 18 is 39, equals C. So our third side is 39 inches long. If you want to check this, you can take your calculator and average those three values. Average the values 5, 13, and 39. You should get 19 as their average.